what we find is it was slipping a bit on takeoff, and it started to slip. By the time it gets here, 20 miles, it starts slipping really badly. I'm like, holy crap. Hey guys, so got the bus back, and I'm not altogether happy. My deadline is to be in California, just north of LA, by the end of this month, and we're in March right now. This time it's not the RV place that was refurbishing it that's a problem, it's the mechanics. Was the mechanics, and I wonder if it's something to do with Indiana, some kind of dampening field, and everyone just works at... Okay, forget that. But I put it in the middle of January. I told them about the deadline. The airbag had gone, so they changed the airbag. I had one spare, boxed up. So basically, they didn't even have to look for the part. So that was pretty easy. The clutch wasn't slipping at the time, but I was worried because I know I've had problems before. I said, just forget about this, just change the clutch. Tell me how much it costs, change it. Get it rebuilt, whatever. I was going to go to Scott Crosby, but he doesn't do house calls anymore, and I don't trust this thing to do 400 miles. And the biggest thing was this thing starts to overheat on the way there, and it's 20 miles away. So the shop has a good reputation, has a good name. So I thought they could handle it, and then they told me they could handle it. So took it there. And the next thing I find out is they burned out their jump pack because the battery was flat, and they have to rebuild the starter motor. I don't know how that happened. They can't get a new one because, well, they can, but it takes like months, so they rebuilt the old one. Then they said the alternator is not giving enough power, so that's okay. They changed. I don't mind changing stuff, even though it costs me more. The main thing for companies is to communicate, project manage, be organized, and be transparent with me and not give me any surprises, and they do that well. They communicate. This shop, which shall remain nameless, this mechanics, this heavy duty shop, they do Kenworths and all kinds of stuff. So the main guy kept phoning me, and I said, keep me informed, don't give me any surprises. So he let me know about the starter motor, which wasn't on the thing. They did the airbag, and they did the alternator, and the schmuck here, who was covering this up to get resprayed, covered the radiators and left them, but I know it was overheating before that. So they said, oh, it's easy, it was overheating because of the covering of the radiators with the masking. I said, it was overheating before that. So they took that off, and I said, please investigate, and they're still sticking to their guns. Weeks and weeks go by, 6 weeks go by, and in the end I was going to get new tyres, and they're frigging expensive. I was going to get all new tyres, and they said, do the rears, the fronts are okay, which I still feel dodgy about. When I get to my final destination, I'll do the fronts myself. I'm not myself physically, but I'll get someone to change it. Right now, I don't want to go too much into my money. They did the rears, and then this is what gets me the most. Last minute, they hit me with a big bill, but I'm not too surprised because they told me what was happening with the work. But last minute, they said, we can't do the clutch. They didn't even say it like that. They go, we don't want to touch the clutch. And I'm like, why did you keep it for 6 weeks? It's eaten well into my time margins. It was booked to get resprayed at a custom paint shop. So I start driving this thing back. It doesn't overheat anymore. Oh, they didn't know about the overheating thing. They go, well, you know, it's probably just the masking. I go, it's not. I told you it was overheating before. And I said, did you check the fill? How much? Because I can't check it. The expansion tank is frigging not transparent. And they go, no. And I'm like, so why am I telling you what to do? Anyway, they filled it, and they charged me for the privilege. They filled it and whatever. And it's not overheating now. It gets to 170 on the flat, which is about normal. This is what it did like 5 years ago. You know. So, no need for new radiators immediately. My main concern is, how do I get it to California? And they're saying, well, why can't you tow it? Because it'll cost more than the bus is worth, that's why. Anyway, so I drive it back to this place, which is the interior place, who've had it for like 4 years. and what we find is it was slipping a bit on takeoff, and it started to slip. By the time it gets here, 20 miles, it starts slipping really badly. I'm like, holy crap. So I make a load of phone calls to Ted in Williams, California, and Michael Chase. Thank you if you're watching, which I doubt you do, because you do, you know, you just get on with stuff. Super helpful. What you're going to do on these, and I kind of partially knew this, and I'll show you, is there's a little tap mechanism on the left side of the engine, left front of the engine. This is tied into the mechanism of the clutch, mechanical mechanism. You have to adjust the give. You've got to adjust it. It's not the play, but you've got to adjust things. And this is how I knew the clutch went at its last legs, because it was right at the limit of adjustment. So I find it's at the limit. I'm like, what the hell do I do? And then I read and I say, as an interim measure, if you haven't completely burned out the clutch plates, you can get under the bus and actually adjust the fingers individually. So I messed around. I greased the hell out of a little tap thing to see if I can move it, and this thing slips like a bastard. It's terrible. So that's not there. So now I'm currently looking at the fingers. I've done 4 out of 6 of them. I went to 1 fingers, which is about 1/2 inch width. At the moment they're right up against the throwout bearing. So I hope I know what I'm doing. And this is what annoys me. Why didn't the mechanic do this? They had a proper lift. Okay, so rule number 1 when trying to work on a big behemoth bus like this is to secure it and get underneath it. And what I ended up doing was reversing onto a loading dock, putting the air brakes on so it was secure, and then crawling underneath it. It wasn't easy, let me assure you. So first thing on the agenda, or when you're doing this, is, oh Jesus Christ, you're going to make sure you can turn this engine over without it firing. There's a crank bolt there. The problem with that crank bolt is there's a bumper in the way. It's hard to get to, and this engine's like a 21:1 compression ratio. So imagine trying to turn this thing over. I was thinking of it, and then they told me to make sure it doesn't feel. How do you make sure it doesn't feel? Well, there's a lever there. This ram pushes this lever. This lever's here. If you push it to the right, like I have with this mole grip, or vice grip as you call it, it will stop it from fueling. So I've got that held. I hit the starter motor very quickly, and then it turns over, and then I get under the frigging beast, and I see if I'm in a position where I can, because the bolts have to line up, that I can get it with my 3/4 inch spanner to adjust. So I do that, and then here on the side, see. I'll put my hand on it. If I put my hand on it, you can probably see I've got my hand on it. But if you can see it, that tap adjusts the clutch position, the play and stuff. So that's where we're at. I'm feeling better now because I'm feeling a bit better now because I've made some good progress. If it still doesn't work, it's beyond my control, really. I don't know what we're going to do. So, okay, guys. Guess where we are? We're under the bus. Someone's thrown me under the bus. But anyway, hold on, let me pan out. This hole is the clutch aperture that you can access and look. This is where the gearbox and the clutch meet. And this here, this is my hand, sorry, let's get further away. That bolt there is what you adjust to get the fingers. This is my final one, which is a fucking miracle because it's, like I said, it's Russian roulette. You're turning the engine over, hoping to get it in this little narrow window of operation, and then you get your spanner there, and you do your business, and you turn it anti-clockwise, and the fingers move towards the engine, which is what you want. Yeah, so that's where we're at. You use one of these, Jesus, where is it? 3/4. You use a 3/4 like this. So you put something like this, and then you turn it anti-clockwise to try and get. You can't really see, can you? Because it's fucking too near. But I am squished underneath this thing. But you get the idea. Then there are these little nipples, and you grease them because these haven't been greased. And a modern vehicle, you don't need to think about it too much. It's all sealed, and then it's throw away. These things go on forever, but you have to look after them. And I didn't know that, so I think it's 3,000 miles, you've got to keep greasing them. Okay guys, we've finished. I finished the work now, I think, as far as I can tell, as best as I'm going to get it. And I think the proof of the pudding, as I say, is in the driving, which I haven't done yet because I'm scared. So what I did is I adjusted the fingers like I showed, and then I went back to the pedal, and the pedal was going straight to the ground and not coming up. Went back to the tap adjuster, and then I went all the way clockwise up again and messed around. A few iterations. I've got the pedal here, and what I did is I run the engine with the air brakes on, and then I kind of felt for the biting point, and what I was finding is it was biting about there. If I went too far one way, the pedal didn't want to come up, and I had to do that. Now it's okay. This is when the engine's on. I'm not doing the engine on at the moment. So I think it will drive. I think the clutch is on its last legs. It depends how much clutch material is left in terms of how, you know, in terms of how much life it has. But I think if I can get it to get resprayed and then take it to a place that really knows what they're doing in terms of the clutch. And it's worrying that I seem to know more. I don't know anything, but I seem to know more than these idiots. These are mechanics. You know, so now I've got to think about where to take it. I don't think Scott is probably booked all the way up. I'm going to go for a drive in a bit, because if it still slips. If it doesn't slip, then we have a bit of... what I've done, I've bought myself a bit of time in terms of life. And then it's getting it somewhere and not wasting more time. I don't think I can take it to California. I dread to think how much material's left on the clutch plates. Probably very, very little. And 2,000 miles, even highway driving, because there's going to be a lot of stop-starts and stuff and going for fuel. So I do not know. But yeah, it feels good. Feels good to know my machine. I'm pretty angry because I spent thousands at this service centre, shall we say, and they did some work, but they didn't do what I told them to do, which was to do the clutch. And the owner, was left fumbling, and if I can do it in 2 days through phone calls, why can't a qualified mechanic? I mean, as an engineer, I get so much flack from mechanics. It's not like that in the field. All these academic guys. Well, if you're so fucking good, and I'm academic, how come I'm the one fucking adjusting the clutch? How come I'm the one doing the stuff on the Jag and the Ram? It's fucking annoying, it really is. Excuse my French. Because I get that shit all the time, because mechanics think they know everything. It's not so bad in America, but England's a whole different story. Mechanics over there think they're engineers. And not one isn't better than the other. We need each other. So, okay, thank you. See you later, till next time. Live fast, live well, live free. Thank you.